Welcome back to Metaloop on this rainy filming day. Today's oil change guide is on a 2016 Toyota Rav4 LE with the 2.5-liter 2AR FE engine. All of the parts, tools, and specifications are in the description below. And I hope you'll consider subscribing to catch guides for other Toyotas in the future. Leave a comment as well to share what cars you'd like to see me make DIY video guides for. The parts used in this Rav4 are used on a lot of Toyota cars, so this guide works on many cars from Toyota's lineup. The YZZ-A1 cartridge filter is used on 8 different Toyota models ranging from the Avalon, Camry, Highlander, all the way up to the Venza. So the process is virtually the same for all the cars you just saw listed, including the 2022 Highlander V6 model that I have a separate guide for. Let's get started. With SUVs like the Rav4, I prefer to use car ramps as an easy way to get the couple of extra inches you need to get under the car. We'll still follow best practices by putting jack stands on the frame. You can see here where I placed those, and also wheel chocks on the rear tires just in case. Next, we'll use this lever here to pop the hood. At the front of the car, there's another lever for the hood latch that's right above the Toyota logo. Pushing this to the left will release the hood so you can open it. The Rav4 has a hood prop, so set it like I'm doing here to keep the hood open. We got a light sprinkling of rain during this part of the video, but you'll be glad to know that the weather cleared right up as soon as I finished. Unscrewing the oil cap will allow the oil to drain more quickly later, but it's also a great way to confirm the grade of oil the Rav4 uses, which is a 0.20 weight full synthetic oil. We'll also check the dipstick to see how the oil looks. If it's just dark but not gritty, then the oil has done its job properly. Here's a quick reference view of where the oil drain plug and oil filter housing are located. The Rav4 doesn't have any underbody panels, so we'll get right into it. With the oil pan lined up underneath, we'll break loose the oil drain plug with a 14mm socket, and you should be able to spin it off by hand after that. While the oil finishes draining, the drain plug has a replaceable crush washer. While it's probably fine to reuse the washer, they're only about $1 each and sold in a 10-pack. I'll have a link in the description below if you want to buy some. The gasket might be with the plug, or it might be stuck on the drain pan, so check there too if you don't see it. With the new crush washer in place, we can put the drain plug back on. This allows us to move on to the oil filter housing without worrying about the drain plug hole dripping the entire time. Don't over-tighten the drain plug, as the oil pan is usually made out of a lighter aluminum. The drain plug just needs to be on hand tight, or 30 foot-pounds if you want to follow the torque specs. Now we can move on to the oil filter housing. The OEM filter kit is great. Not only does it have instructions, as you can see here, it comes with a plastic drain tool for the filter housing to help us drain the oil before we remove it. We can also lay everything else out for later. Back underneath the car, you'll see here that the filter housing has its own drain plug. We're going to remove that by using a 3/8 drive square. Then we'll insert the plastic drain tool that came in the kit. It pops right on with a little effort. You'll want to give this a couple minutes to drain, but we'll move ahead to the next step with a little editing magic. With the housing fully drained, we can now remove the drain tool. This filter housing requires a pretty big 64mm filter wrench to remove. There's a lot of versions available online, but I really like the one that I'm using. I'll have that linked below as well. I recommend spending a little money here, especially if you're trying to change your own oil more than once. A good quality one can handle an over-tightened filter housing, like the one I'm dealing with on this Rav4. And there's a good chance it'll work on your next Toyota too. Just a fair warning that the cheaper oil wrench options tend to fit poorly or be designed to use the tabs on the plastic housing that can easily break off, especially when the housing is over-tightened like it is here. And now that the housing is removed, let's prep the filter. The filter kit comes with 2 new O-rings. The big one goes on the top. We'll use a pick tool to get the old one off. Please note that the O-ring sits on a notch that's not quite all the way down, so be careful where you place it and seat it like I'm doing here. Rub a little oil on the O-ring like I'm doing here to help ensure that it doesn't bind up when we put the housing back on. The smaller O-ring goes on the bottom of the housing where the drain plug goes. Just like before, put a little oil on that O-ring. And as you probably noticed, the old O-ring got stuck on the plastic drain tool when I pulled it off. I haven't seen it do that before. The filter element fits in either direction and it just snaps into place. And lastly, we'll screw the drain plug back on too. Now we're ready to put the housing back on. Spin the housing back on by hand to make sure it threads properly. Then we can use our end cap wrench to tighten it. The manual says 18 foot-pounds, or basically as tight as your oily hands can get it without a ratchet. The drain plug is 9 foot-pounds, and my torque wrench doesn't go that low, so I'm just tightening as much as I can without turning the housing more. And now we're done underneath the car. Back up top, we're ready to fill the oil. Before we begin, let's clean off the oil cap and make sure that the rubber gasket around it is still in good condition. For today's oil change, we're using Costco's Kirkland branded 0W20 weight synthetic oil. Toyota recommends Ilsac GF6A approved oil, which Kirkland is. It's also less than $4 a quart, which is pretty cost effective for a synthetic oil blend that meets all manufacturer standards. The Rav4 needs 4.6 quarts of oil, so Kirkland's 5-quart bottle works perfectly. We'll first fill with about 4 quarts and work on getting the Rav4 level to the ground for the rest. Be sure to remove the jack stands and wheel chocks. Start the car and give it a minute to ensure that the new oil filter gets primed with oil. Then the Rav4 can come off the ramps. After that, we'll also check the oil before we fill more. You can see that the oil is just barely touching the dipstick, and usually the area between the bottom to top dots is about 1 quart of oil. That means adding another 0.6 quart should get us right above the middle of that, and leave room for the oil to expand when heated. And when we check the dipstick again, we're right above the middle of the 2 dots. Perfect. I feel good about that. We can clean up our oil spills and put the oil cap back on. Lastly, we'll start the car up and get the oil circulating. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this oil change video for a 2016 Toyota Rav4. Send this video to your friends who have a Rav4 or any of the Toyota models that might benefit from this DIY guide. Additionally, if they have a Highlander, I have a video for that too. I really appreciate your support and all the time you spent watching this video. Thank you. I'm Alan, and this is Metaloop. I'll see you next time.